Hi, this is Kathy Barbaro, and I've come on here a little bit early because I wanted to make sure that the scheduling aspect of going live, if I really got my understanding of it, and pretty sure enough, it is say I'm live. So, if you are here, thank you very much for coming. I thought also that I could just review a little bit about why I'm doing this because a couple of weeks ago I tried going live with some teachers, and I have another project that I was beginning on, and it was a new idea. And it was so much fun just getting some ideas about what others would do with one of these ideas that I came up with. So I thought, I could probably that's probably like a good thing to just keep on experimenting with. So if you were here a couple weeks ago, then this might look familiar, but if not, this is the cardboard fish project that I was kind of experimenting with. And um, just in general, I'm trying to do more 3D things because during COVID and all, everything turned into drawing projects and painting just out of necessity. So since I've kind of like that's in the rearview mirror pretty much as far as like the 2D projects, I'm trying to go more 3D. And so that's why I'm trying out some new things. If you're brand new here and you don't know me, my name's Kathy Barbaro. I am the creator of Art Projects for Kids. And this summer, I've been working on my goal is to work on a lot more projects and make some new things because my background, real briefly, is that I was in a classroom for 15 years. Then I transitioned into making my website. And now that the website is up and running and doing well, I'm trying to expand and make some more projects because that was my first love in the beginning, anyhow, was just coming up with new things. So my goal this summer is to just give myself more time to do that. So briefly, again, back to this fish. I had just the idea of making a cardboard cutout, and then I really like the way metallic markers look on this. So I made my sample with these Crayola metallic markers, but as I shared it with some teachers in that other session, some of them were thinking, because this is kind of stiff, that it might be really cool to do it on watercolor paper, which I could imagine. You could also do this, this is just a slit making two kinds of, like rectangle shapes like this. So this will make the fish stand up, but you could do that with watercolor too. And that'd be really fun. And then that also gives you a way to decorate both sides, because that's the one issue with something like this is you have to decide if it matters that you see both sides, or maybe it's just a two-dimensional thing like this. I think one teacher said she thought it would be really cool to make a display on a bulletin board and to just do an arrangement and not do the 3D thing. So that's the history of this. And, if you're here, I'm still mastering this chat. I don't know if you can enter in. Oh, there it is. Okay. If you can enter in where you're watching this, that would be really interesting to hear. And then I'd love to know if you're a classroom art teacher or if you're the just classroom teacher who's trying to do more art projects, because I know there are both kinds of people that come to my websites, and it's always interesting to hear the surroundings or the background of the different people that have come. So feel free to put your chat put your answer in the chat, and then I will start telling you a little bit more about this project that I have for today. Make sure I'm following the chat so I'm going to have to learn how to watch those things and describe the projects at the same time. So the project that I have today is another fish project, and I do plan to expand beyond fish later this summer, but it just so happens that the two things that I came up with first kind of have to do with fish. And my favorite thing to do is to kind of experiment with things that you have on hand, so you don't need any new supplies. So this obviously is using cardboard again, and then these are just plain old popsicle sticks. And so I did see this idea originally on Pinterest because someone had shared just a photo of it. But what I saw there was that they had some colored sticks, which are okay, but I kind of like this look, either the natural look, or because then you can either keep it natural looking or you could paint it some other color too. And that Pinterest idea also had just these really big sticks here, and then the head was small. They didn't match up. I thought, well, I thought I could do that better because it makes sense that this line should kind of look like it continues like that, not that there's a little head and then it jumps to being really big, and it's easy enough thing to fix. So I've made a template for this head and the tail, and then the spine here is made out of gluing two of those regular pop sticks together. So after those are glued together, then it takes two jumbo sticks for that, and then two regular size sticks that go in the middle. And then these are two mini sticks. And then just for fun, I tried using at Michael's, you can get these bags of eyes, circles, all different sizes. So those are kind of fun to add too. You could certainly just draw in your eyes, but it might be kind of fun to have that to start with also. So if you are new here, thanks for joining me. And I was just kind of describing what I did last week or 2 weeks ago with this fish idea, and that it was so much fun to kind of brainstorm with other teachers. And so I thought I'd try it again. If you are here, feel free to drop in I don't think I need to do anything to see the chat. I'm going to test it here. Hi. Because the goal is to have you be able to drop in your ideas of what you would do with this. So if you jump in at any point, just feel free to add any ideas, any inspiration you might have. Just to backtrack on how this was made, what I did is I started by gluing these two sticks together, two regular ones, and I did use just craft glue. I didn't use hot glue because that's messier and kids can't do that. It's not quite so safe. So I used craft glue to get to glue these two regular size sticks together. And then after those were dry, which only took about 3 minutes, by the way, then when those were dry, then I glued on my jumbo sticks and then the two mini ones. Oh, good. Thank you for chatting because I want to make sure it's working. I'm an ESL teacher in Switzerland. Oh, wow. That's great. Oh, I love how the internet gets people from all over the world together. That's so cool. Great. So what I would recommend doing with this, if you like this idea, you could, if you had younger kids, you could certainly set it up for them, like glue this together and then have the structure. And maybe this, if you just had this ready to go, then the kids could glue on their own sticks because it only takes about 3 minutes for that craft glue to set up. But you would have to do this in 2 stages though, because obviously you're going to need it to be really dry before you put some decorations on it. So if you have any other questions about how that would work, just feel free to drop it in the chat. Excuse me. I also have another tool if you're interested in kind of making these hang like this. There's a tool called the Crop-O-Dial, and I got this thing at Michael's. And I'm sure they have it in other places too. It's amazing tool. It's designed to punch a hole through almost anything. So you can dial for a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch. And I don't know if I can show you how it works, but you can punch it through metal, you can do it through cardboard, and I use it in the popsicle sticks too because, well, I can show you here. If you put it in, and then it has this little pincher thing that goes down like that. See, does that show? And you punch it, and boom, you have a hole in your stick, which is really cool because that gives you all kinds of options of hanging things with a string or whatever you want. So anyhow, what I was thinking is if you did do something and you'd prefer to have it hanging like a fish, then you could punch a hole in here and make a display, like a classroom display of hanging fish. So that may be kind of cool too. So again, if you're joining me here, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day. And I would love to hear any ideas of what you would do with a fish like this, because You could just leave it natural looking. You could paint it, or you could glue all kinds of things on it too. Um, I did do a little bit of experimenting with markers, and when I was playing around with this one. So this is painted, and I use tempera paint for the cardboard here and here, which is fine. It covers it well. It's kind of, certainly not a, well, I don't know. It's to me, it looks a little dull, but maybe that is fine if you're going to come back and do some metallic markers on it or something. This stick here, I was experimenting with paint sticks, so paint markers. So that's what happens when you use like a Sharpie paint marker. You get these really kind of solid matte colors like that. This one is where I tried using my metallic markers that are really designed for paper, but they sometimes do cool things and other stuff too. So that is what happens when you use those metallic markers. It's not too bright, so I'm not sure that it's worth using something special like that on this. This one here, I actually use just my regular water-based markers. These are the Prang, so just your ordinary kind of classroom markers. It does bleed a little bit because of the quality of the wood. So, but that might be kind of cool though too if you're doing like a folk art thing and you didn't mind it looking kind of ragged and you just wanted it to be colorful. That might be kind of fun. This one here was done with just those regular markers too. So you can get bright colors from just the water-based markers. This one is the water-based and I did stripes, but it's with lighter colors. So it doesn't show up too much. And this is with the water-based ones too. So depending on which color you use, sometimes they kind of stand out and sometimes they don't. So let me see if there are any ideas. Oh, I would paint it for sure, but maybe add stuff to the head and the tail to give it texture. Yeah, I agree. Maybe like do some kind of cover it with glue and sprinkle something on it, like, I don't know, something to make it like sand, like or salt or something would give it some texture, unless you wanted it to look a little more scaly. There's probably something else, like bigger circles that have something you could do on there. That would be cool. I was also thinking, since this kind of looks like I found this artist that made driftwood projects. And so I thought, it would be really cool if you were like, if you happen to live by any nature place and you collected little twigs and things and you glued them on here, because you know how some of those artists, they collect different shaped branches from the sea or something like that, and they put them all together to make it like an amazing animal or something. It might be fun, since you have the basic shape of a fish, that if students found nature twigs and leaves and things, that they could glue that on there, and it would still, even if it was raggedy and they're really young, it would still look pretty cool, like a nature kind of project, or Earth Day thing too, because of the message. This is all recyclable stuff. So that might make a cool project also. And my thing that I'm trying to do this summer is to tie it into artists that have done some incredible things. Like I found some, well, the painting projects that I found recently, there's some Canadian artists that have made amazing landscape paintings. So in a perfect world, we could find culture or an artist or someone to get inspired by, that you could tie this project into, so that you're not only learning how to make something and glue something and decorate something, but you're learning about somebody from the past, or a current artist too, for that matter. But that it's tying into someone else who's doing things that are really interesting. So let's see what's coming up here. Oh, maybe with puff glue or something to make it more 3D. That would be cool. And someone said, I think markers would work best. Glitter for the English aspect. Kids can learn colors. If each stick is a different color, they can also count the sticks, sing songs about summer and fish. Oh yeah, that sounds like fun. And Monica says, we have a lovely forest behind our school. Oh, you are lucky. We can go scavenging for fun nature stuff. That would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine like little acorn caps and leaves and cool things. And in that case, it might get kind of heavy. So if you just came in, I have a solution for that. You like putting a hole through here and using this tool I showed a few minutes ago. This is called a cropodile. It's CROPDILE. It's just this big heavy duty tool that has like two different size little punch things that come down. So I use it to punch holes in my craft sticks because it's the only thing I know of. See how you can hold that in front of me? You can punch holes through this. And once you have a hole, then you have all kinds of options, to put string on it. So that would be, I would love to see that. Oh, I wish I had. Well, I do have trees in my not too far away, so I can't complain. But if you had kids that could go out and find things and then glue them on there, and then it might get, like I said, might get a little heavier. But if you had the string to hang it up, that would be amazing. And you had a whole bunch of them on display. That'd be so fun to look at. So, anybody else have any ideas? No, thank you so much for those so far. Those are great. I also thought when I was doing this one that it has kind of could have a kind of Dr. Seuss quality to it too. So maybe something, go for to the modern side and do something really bold, like, or you could spray paint it one color and then the kids could come back and do abstract designs with a paint marker. It might be kind of fun just to have that graphic look of just, lines and a fish that's made out of colorful lines and then coming back and adding something on top of that. That might be fun also. So that's great. Well, if you have any other ideas, feel free to pop them in here because what'll be fun is that those that couldn't make this live for those they can come back. This will always be, saved on my live page and other people can come in and see those ideas. And I think they can add comments to it afterwards too. I'll have to learn how that works. Oh, someone says, by the way, my name's Allison. Hi, Allison. I've been looking for a crocodile, but they're so expensive. Yeah, I imagine. I think I used my Michael's coupons. It was quite an investment when I got this. It might have been $50 or $60, but I had some kind of coupon and somehow I made that work, even though I didn't have that big of a budget. But over the years, I think this is like 10 years old at least. And I've used it like on soup cans when you're making things with that. And like just for the popsicle sticks, being able to punch a hole in a popsicle stick is really incredible. Especially, I think I used to make these kind of stars for kindergartners when I was in the classroom. And so we would glue a star shape of these, and then the kids would use, I think, Sharpies to color, and they glued beads on them. And then having this hole allowed them to take it home and hang it, on their door, on their tree, or whatever they had. So it came in handy so many times. So that's all I can say. I don't have an affiliate link to that or anything. I just know they're really cool. So great. Well, thank you so much, you guys, for joining me today. I know it's taking time out of your Sunday to try and learn about something new. But as I've been making more things this summer, like I said, sometimes I have just the beginning of an idea, and just hearing what other teachers would do with it is so inspiring because you all have different, experiences that you're bringing into your classrooms and, different perspectives. So you never know how, something can one idea can lead to another and another. And before you know it, you have your favorite project that you do for years and years. So, well, you're welcome for sharing that, for sharing that. Thank you. If you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in. If you are new here, I'm Kathy Barbaro, and the creator of Art Projects for Kids. I was in a classroom for 15 years before I figured out kind of how to take my work online, and then because I did find out and learned what my love is, the idea part of making projects and coming up with things that work. And they work for the teachers and they work for the kids and they learn something new. And when you kind of check all those boxes, not every project is going to do that. But when you find some that do that, then it's just like the best feeling ever because it's just like a win-win-win. When the kids love what they do and the teachers are happy with the results and they're, it feels like the time was well worth it. Anything that any time they invested in having it happen was happily, given. So it's so fun to find those. And then, anything else along the way too. Like I said, not every one of them is going to be like, out of the park, amazing. But as you try more things and experiment with them and sometimes go back to old ideas, then you can kind of polish things. And it's just like a stockpile of ideas, and you never know what's going to work for yourself or what's going to start an idea for somebody else. So it all works. So, anyhow, well, thank you for joining me today. And I'm going to sign off and let you guys back to your Sunday, unless you had any other question. But that's why I wanted to do the live thing, is so that if you had some kind of question, I could answer it. But cool. Well, thank you so much. And I'm going to see what I have other things that I'm working on, like related to Greek mosaics. And I have one idea that I'm kind of trying out. So I'm going to see how, what that kind of turns into. And then if I'd like some more feedback, I'll come back here in a couple of weeks or so and share that with you. And then we can take that from there. So anyhow, thank you so much for joining me. And oh, someone said here, there's a famous children's picture book here in Switzerland called The Rainbow Fish. Oh yeah, it's translated into English. I think that would be great to accompany. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. In the States here, the Rainbow Fish, that's like, standard reading for kindergarten teachers. So yeah, I can imagine, obviously, and it's all about sharing your scales or something too. So you could color it and then have some scales on. And I think a lot of classrooms, they do things like the kids exchange, the color. I don't know if it's a scale, it doesn't sound right, but the little, well, maybe it is. It's a fish scale that they trade with each other. So that would be fun. And that'd be a lot different. The thing about making kind of 3D-ish stuff like this is that it's different than just drawing something on a piece of paper, because you can't make amazing craft projects every day. It's usually not in the budget or in the time. And so the drawing things are helpful, but every once in a while to be able to kind of turn and work with something else, with a different material and a different media, gluing things instead of drawing things, that's also helpful. So it would be good for a rainbow fish project to kind of take it off the paper and put it onto something like this too. So thank you so much. Yeah, I will work on those Greek mosaics. And if you're on my email list, then you'll be hearing about that. But otherwise, like I said, thanks again. And if you have any questions, oh, you know what? If you want the template for this head and the tail, I'm going to put it in the description as soon as I'm signing off here, so that you can download it's just a letter size paper that has the shape for the head and the shape for the tail. So no reason for you guys to figure out how to draw that on your own. So I'm happy to share that there. I don't have a project because this is going to be for my art retreat. So it'll be turned into like a full-fledged project a little later on. But for right now, I'm happy to share that template for the head and the tail. So you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday.